Seattle's spring rain pattered against the glass walls of a sleek downtown office, where Emma Carter, 31, sat hunched over her laptop. Her fingers danced across the keyboard, finalizing a financial plan that could secure a client's retirement. As a financial advisor at Cascade Investments, Emma was known for her precision. Her colleagues jokingly called her the woman who lives in a spreadsheet. But she didn't mind. Every dollar she saved, every calculated risk she avoided, was a brick in the foundation of her dream, a modest cabin nestled in the pines, with a garden of lavender and rosemary, where the only sound was the rustle of leaves. Emma was the youngest of two sisters, forever overshadowed by her older sister, Lauren, 35, who seemed born to command attention. Lauren's auburn hair caught the light like a flame. Her laugh filled rooms, and her presence demanded notice. Married to Ethan, a structural engineer, Lauren had 2 kids, Sophie, 8, with a quick wit, and Mason, 5, shy but curious. Their family squeezed into a cramped 2-bedroom apartment in Seattle's bustling core, where the hum of traffic and complaints about rent were as constant as the rain. At weekly family dinners, Lauren's voice carried over the clink of glasses, lamenting the lack of space for the kids and the city's relentless cost of living. Growing up, Emma had felt the sting of her parents' favoritism like a quiet bruise. When Lauren turned 17, she got a shiny new Subaru for college. Emma, at the same age, inherited Dad's rattling Ford with a gruff, "It runs fine, don't complain." Lauren's college years abroad were fully funded by their parents, Robert and Diane. Emma worked 30 hours a week to afford community college. Lauren's high school graduation was a lavish affair with a catered banquet. Emma's was marked by a quiet dinner and a half-hearted toast. As long as you pass. The favoritism was never spoken aloud, but it coded every choice in their household. As undeniable as the polish on Lauren's life, Emma didn't resent it. She learned early that if she didn't carve her own path, no one would. For 7 years, Emma lived with a discipline that bordered on ascetic. No dining out more than 3 times a month. No shopping sprees unless it was essential. No credit card debt. Her 12-year-old hatchback still purred, so she saw no need for a new one. She skipped luxury vacations for solo hikes through the Cascades, where the air was sharp and the silence was hers. Every spare cent went into 3 accounts: housing, investments, emergency. Her dream, a 2-bedroom cabin in Snohomish, an hour from Seattle, with a wide porch and a sunlit garden, felt closer each month. She rented a small suburban apartment from the parents of her college friend, Mia, at half market rate, a kindness she repaid with reliability. There, in the quiet of her evenings, Emma found solace, a laptop glowing, a shelf of finance books behind her, a mug of chamomile tea steaming, and a window framing trees that shifted with the seasons. It was a Sunday evening at her parents' craftsman-style home in West Seattle. The air thick with the scent of grilled steak and garlic bread. Sophie darted around the backyard, giggling, while Mason clung to Ethan's leg. Emma sat at the dining table, scrolling through property listings on her phone, when a photo stopped her breath. A cedar cabin in Snohomish, its porch bathed in golden light, a garden bursting with wildflowers. She smiled, unguarded, lost in the image. Lauren, sipping iced tea across the table, caught it. "What's got you grinning like that, Em?" Emma hesitated. She hadn't planned to share, but the warmth of the moment loosened her guard. "I'm house hunting," she said, her voice soft but steady. "I'm planning to buy next month." The room froze. Forks paused mid-air. Robert, her father, squinted over his glasses. Diane, her mother, set her wine glass down with a deliberate clink. Lauren's smile tightened. "You're buying a house?" Diane asked, her tone laced with something Emma couldn't quite name. "By yourself?" "Yeah," Emma replied, keeping her voice even. "I've been saving for 7 years. I want something small, quiet, close to nature, away from the city's noise." Robert raised an eyebrow, his silence heavier than words. Lauren leaned forward, her voice sharper than usual. "I'm not saying you can't buy a house, but you've got to think long-term. A house should have space for family, not just for living alone forever." "Family?" Emma asked, half laughing, expecting a joke. Who's that? No one answered. The quick glance between Diane and Lauren sent a chill through her. She let it pass, focusing on her plate, but the unease lingered like a storm cloud. Later that night, back in her apartment, Emma was organizing mortgage documents when her phone buzzed. A text from Diane. Just talked to Mrs. Linda from book club. There's a stunning house in Magnolia, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, huge yard for kids to play. Sending you the link. Before Emma could respond, a flurry of messages from Lauren flooded in. You have to see this one. Top school district, close to shops, even has a home office. If you get it, we could visit more. The kids would love it. Emma clicked the link. A sprawling modern house with a gourmet kitchen, a 3-car garage, and a price tag that made her stomach lurch. She sighed, typing back. Thanks, but I'm looking for something smaller. Quieter. Lauren's reply was instant. Why? Emma stared at the word, her thumb hovering over the keyboard. But she didn't respond. 3 days later, during a lunch break, Diane called, her voice bubbling with excitement. Emma, I just saw the house on Cedar Lane. The owners are relocating, slashing the price. It's got a master suite with a balcony. 2 kids' rooms, perfect. You need to tour it. Emma closed her eyes, pinching the bridge of her nose. Mom, I don't need that much space. I don't have kids, and I'm not planning for anyone to move in. You'll want them someday, Diane countered, her tone firm. And if not, Lauren and the kids could stay on weekends. That apartment of theirs is suffocating. The words hit Emma like a slap. The hints, the glances, the family-friendly listings, they weren't random. Her family didn't just want her to buy a house, they wanted her to buy one for them. The tension boiled over at the next family dinner. Emma, buoyed by the thrill of signing a contract for her dream cabin that morning, decided to share. I bought a house, she announced, her voice bright despite the knot in her chest. A 2-bedroom cedar cabin in Snohomish. I'm moving in at the end of the month. Silence crashed over the table. Lauren's glass hit the table with a thud. You bought it? She asked, her voice tight. As in, you've already signed everything? Emma nodded, offering a small smile. Yeah, last week. Diane sat up, hand on her chest, as if Emma had confessed to a crime. How could you decide that alone? You know we've been looking for houses for you. Emma's smile faded. What do you mean? For me? Who's we? Lauren's face was stone. Ethan and me. The house Mom found is near the best elementary school. Sophie and Mason could have their own rooms. You don't need all that space. So it's perfect. Emma laughed. But it was hollow. Wait. You're all talking like I'd buy a house so your family could move in? Robert set his fork down, his voice low and measured. Emma, you're the only one in this family who's financially secure right now. Family helps family. She turned to Diane. You agree? Her mother's eyes didn't waver. You live alone, work remotely, have a steady income. Lauren's struggling in that tiny apartment. The kids need space. If you care about your sister. Emma's voice cracked as she cut in. Then I should give up my dream to prop up someone else's life? The room went still. Ethan, silent until now, cleared his throat. I could fix up the place. Emma, if it's that 4-bedroom, I'd make it perfect. No charge. Emma's gaze locked on Lauren. You know, I thought you'd at least ask me. Not make plans behind my back. Lauren shrugged, unapologetic. I didn't think I had to. You're my sister. You've got the stability I've never had. Emma pushed her chair back. Standing. No one asked what I wanted. And now, when I've finally built something for myself after a decade, you're staring me down like I'm selfish for not handing it over. Diane's voice sliced through the air. You're betraying this family. Emma, the Cedar Lane house. Mrs. Linda was ready to lower the price. Big, safe neighborhood. We've been planning for weeks. Just waiting for your yes. Emma stood frozen, her eyes sweeping the table. Blame in Diane's face. Expectation in Lauren's. Quiet disappointment in the rest. No one had ever asked. Emma, are you happy? What do you want? She spoke slowly, each word deliberate. I didn't buy a house to make room for anyone else. I bought it because I wanted a home for me. A life I chose. You were all wrong to think you could claim it without asking. She grabbed her purse and headed for the door. Lauren's voice chased her. You're tearing this family apart over a house. Emma paused, hand on the knob. It's not about a house. It's about finally being old enough to know who's living my life, and who shouldn't. She stepped into the cool night. The door clicking shut behind her. The rain had stopped, and for the first time in years, she felt lighter, as if she'd shed a weight she'd carried since childhood. The rain had stopped. But the Seattle night clung to Emma Carter's skin as she drove back to her suburban apartment. The echo of her family's accusations still ringing in her ears. You're betraying this family, her mother, Diane, had said, her voice sharp enough to cut through years of silence. You're tearing us apart, Lauren, her sister, had shouted, as if Emma's dream, a modest cedar cabin in Snohomish, was a personal attack. At 31, Emma had spent a lifetime bending to her family's expectations. But tonight, something snapped. She wasn't the quiet girl in the corner anymore. The one who accepted hand-me-downs and half-hearted praise. She was done. Back in her apartment, the door shut with a hollow thud, sealing out the world. Emma dropped her purse on the floor and stood in the dim glow of a single lamp. Her chest tight with a mix of anger and relief. The space was small but hers, rented at a steal from the parents of her college friend. Mia, who trusted Emma's reliability. Books on finance lined a wooden shelf. A worn armchair sat by a window overlooking a maple tree, and a half-finished mug of chamomile tea rested on the counter. This was her sanctuary, but it felt temporary now. A waiting room before the life she'd fought for. Her phone buzzed relentlessly. 3 missed calls from Diane. A text from her father. Robert. Call me now. Then Lauren. Are you really this heartless? My kids didn't do anything wrong. I thought you got it. Emma set the phone face down. The screen's glow a silent accusation. For the first time in years, she turned it off. In the quiet, memories flooded back. At 11, Lauren was sent to ballet classes while Emma was enrolled in after-school math tutoring. You're good at numbers. Don't waste it, Diane had said. At 17, Lauren got a new Subaru. Emma got Robert's old Ford with a cracked windshield. Lauren's college years in London were a parental gift. Emma worked nights at a diner to pay for community college. The favoritism was a constant undertow, pulling Emma under while Lauren shone. Yet Emma didn't hate her sister, she pitied her. In a way, for never having to fight for anything. But pity didn't mean surrender. Emma had spent 7 years saving for her cabin, living like a monk to make it real. No dining out, no new clothes, no vacations beyond hiking the Cascades. Every choice was a step toward freedom. And she wouldn't let her family steal it. The next morning, Emma woke to sunlight streaming through her window. The air crisp with purpose. She brewed coffee, the rich aroma grounding her, and made a decision. She would cut ties. Not out of spite, but survival. Her family saw her as a resource, not a person. She contacted her lawyer, finalized the closing details for the Snohomish cabin, and hired a moving company for a quiet Monday morning, when Lauren would be at work and the kids at school. She changed her phone number, deleted her social media, and redirected her mail to a P.O. box. Only 3 people got her new address: Mia, her friend since college, her lawyer, and her manager, Karen, who'd always respected Emma's boundaries. To her family, she'd vanish like a ghost. The move was seamless. The moving truck arrived at dawn. The crew efficient and discreet. Emma stood in her new home, a 2-bedroom cedar cabin on a tree-lined street in Snohomish. An hour from Seattle's chaos. The air smelled of pine. The hardwood floors gleamed under morning light, and the backyard stretched into a garden with raised beds waiting for her touch. She exhaled, a deep, unshackled breath, and felt the weight of years lift. No one could tell her the living room was too small for family gatherings. No one could demand she make space for others. This was hers. Emma threw herself into her new life with quiet ferocity. She painted her home office olive green, a color Diane would have called too bold. She built a trellis for tomatoes and planted lavender along the porch, the scent greeting her each morning. She joined a local gardening club, where she met Clara, a warm woman in her 50s with a sprawling herb garden, and Noah, a landscape designer her age who offered to fix her irrigation system. They didn't pry into her past. Only cared about her plans for spring planting. Ever tried heirloom tomatoes? Clara asked at the first meetup. Her eyes crinkling. They're a game changer. Emma smiled, feeling a spark of belonging. Work, too, became a refuge. Remote since the pandemic, Emma's days were free of office politics. She pitched a new financial literacy program to a major client. And to her shock, it was approved in a week. Her manager, Karen, called with a raise and a request to train new hires, a first for Emma, who'd always flown under the radar. You're a natural leader, Karen said, and Emma felt seen, not as a cog, but as herself. But the past wasn't done with her. One late autumn afternoon, as Emma sorted seed packets for spring, the doorbell rang. She peered through the peephole, her heart stopping. Lauren stood on the porch, her auburn hair tied back, eyes sunken, holding a worn tote bag. Behind her, Sophie and Mason fidgeted, thinner than Emma remembered. No one spoke. Emma opened the door, the cold air rushing in with Lauren's hesitant breath. I wasn't sure I could still knock, Lauren said, her voice stripped of its usual edge. Emma didn't invite them in. But she didn't shut the door. Sophie broke the silence, her voice small. Mom said if we were good, we could see your garden. Emma crouched, touching Sophie's shoulder. I just planted some daisies. Wanna check them out? The kids nodded, darting to the backyard, their laughter a soft echo. Emma and Lauren sat on the porch, tea steaming between them, the silence heavy. Finally, Lauren spoke, her voice barely above the wind. I thought you'd always take it, like Mom taught us. But you're stronger than me. I was wrong to think I could just take your life. Emma sipped her tea, letting the words settle. I'm not strong, she said. I'm just tired of being your backup plan. Lauren didn't apologize. Not directly, but her eyes, red, raw, said enough. Emma let the kids explore, keeping her distance. She wasn't ready to forgive. But she wasn't ready to hate either. The door stayed cracked, not wide open. Weeks later, an email from HR jolted her. Lauren had applied for a training program at Emma's firm. Citing Emma's blog post, everyone deserves a fresh start. But you have to take the first step, as inspiration. She hadn't asked for reference. Hadn't leaned on Emma's name. She was trying, quietly, to stand on her own. Then, a note from Sophie, slipped under Emma's gate. Aunt Emma. I helped Mom with her resume. She's trying. Like you, she still makes bad tea. But I'm teaching her. P.S. More daisies? Emma sat on her porch, the note in her lap, the garden glowing under moonlight. She didn't cry, but something softened, like frost melting in spring. Lauren walked into the firm's lobby one morning. A trainee now. She nodded at Emma, a silent thank you, not for saving her, but for showing her how to try. That night, Noah dropped by with a basket of apples and a sprig of rosemary. No note, just a quiet presence. Emma brewed tea, opened her windows, and let the scent of soil and lavender fill her home. She was free, not from her family, but from their script. The door was hers to open, but only for those who knocked with humility. Emma's decision to set boundaries with her family is a powerful act of self-preservation, not a rejection of kinship. For years, she lived in the shadow of her sister Lauren, absorbing the unspoken expectation that her role was to support others at the expense of her own dreams. Choosing the Snohomish cabin, her hard-earned sanctuary, wasn't just about buying a house. It was about claiming her right to a life shaped by her own desires. Her family's assumption that she should sacrifice her vision for their convenience reveals a painful truth. They saw her stability as a resource, not her happiness as a priority. By cutting contact, changing her number, and moving in secret, Emma protected her peace, a choice rooted in necessity after years of being overlooked. Yet, Emma's story isn't one of cold detachment. When Lauren and her kids appeared at her doorstep, Emma didn't slam the door. She let them in, not fully, but enough to show that her heart wasn't closed to genuine change. Lauren's later efforts to rebuild her life, citing Emma's words as inspiration, and Sophie's heartfelt note prove that Emma's boundaries didn't just protect her, they set an example. Emma's journey is a masterclass in balancing self-respect with compassion, showing that true strength lies in knowing when to say no and when to leave the door cracked for those who learn to knock with humility. Her story resonates with anyone who's ever had to redraw the lines of family to find themselves. Wow. Emma's story hit me hard. Her courage to stand up for her dreams against family pressure is so inspiring. I totally get why she set those boundaries. Sometimes you have to protect your peace to truly live. What I love most is how she didn't shut out Lauren completely. She left room for real change. And that takes guts and heart. What do you all think? Did Emma do the right thing? Or should she have compromised for family? Drop your thoughts below. And let's keep this convo going. If you're loving these deep dives into stories like Emma's, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss the next one. Keep choosing your own path. Fam.